Morning, everybody. Can you hear me? Unmute. So you all can speak. If you unmute, yeah, perfect. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yay. That's great. I'm just going to give it a couple minutes. Usually we have some add-ins. Yeah, there's one. So yeah. If you can't hear me at any time, just give a yell out and I'll talk a bit louder. For some reason, the traffic on my street decided to be really loud today. And I have my window open, so get some air. I'm just gonna get rid of all that. So I just wanted to thank the Small Business Center and Trendval for everything that they do for us, and for having me do the seminar today, the webinar today. Thanks, Brianna, for asking. I appreciate being able to speak and get some ideas put in people's head in regards to what's available locally and what we can do locally. I'm going to talk a little bit today, obviously, about marketing to millennials. Hopefully you get some tidbits of information that help, and I'm available at any time to speak with you individually if you do require more assistance or you'd like some more help, or you want to talk about what is going on locally that we can assist with. Anyways, for those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Michelle Ewens, and I am the owner-operator of Shop Bay of Quinte. And Shop Bay of Quinte is a regional site that offers local cooperative marketing to all local businesses that are independently owned, or if they're franchised, they're owned locally. We don't deal with the big box stores. We don't deal with corporations that aren't here locally owned, if that helps. So, and it's not just a retail site. It's not just for retail stores. We do service nonprofits, professional services, the side hustles, and everything in between, from one employee right through to 500 kind of idea what's considered a small business. Our protocol is to grow our local economies, and by doing that, getting more money back into our economy, allowing it to grow, like the multiplier effect. So if you have any questions at any time, feel free to raise your hand, speak, just ask as we're going along. I think we'll get started here. So today, I'm talking about marketing to millennials. So here's a few quick facts in regards to millennials. Millennials are born, and I'm just going to move this. I don't know if you can see it. Millennials and Generation Z, actually. So millennials are born between 1981 and 1996, and Generation Zs are 1997 to 2012. Those dates kind of differ depending on who you talk to and what agency you get information from, but that's the general consensus, so that it's 1981 to 96. So most millennials and all Gen Zs have never known a world without Amazon. So Amazon started in July 16, 1995. So if you let that sink in for just a second, when they became aware of what's going on around them, Amazon was already present. Millennials were the first to have Facebook while still in high school. Facebook launched in 2004 and had 500 million users by 2009. 25% of millennials spend an average of 5 hours a day using their phone, and a quarter of millennials check their phones more than 100 times a day. And Gen Zs have never known a world without a cell phone. And Gen Zs are considered to be the next digital intelligent. They've been raised on iPads. They have X number of TVs and video games and all of that. They are in, so you can hand my 2-year-old niece my iPad and she knows enough to move it around and how to get it going. She might not get where she wants, but she has a general idea. So if you think about that and how that works and how that affects marketing, that's all they've known is a digital device in their hand. They don't know about a newspaper. They're not sure about the radio ads. They're not listening to local radio. They listen to Spotify. They listen to Sirius XM, something with no commercials, no interruptions. Because traditional marketing is not something that that appeals to them, especially the Gen Zs. So kind of take that into account when you're trying to market to this demographics. And here's the thing, only 15% of small businesses market to millennials and Gen Zs. So kind of think about that for a second. There's a huge market there. They are by 2026, the Gen Zs will have a higher, I think they said something in the neighborhood of about $240 billion of buying power. So just kind of let that sink in. How is, in the next 6 years, what I'm doing now going to affect what I do then? And somebody's got a question. Okay, just for you. Okay. So the next slide. So this is what I want you to think about. How can small businesses take advantage of this moment of disruption when consumers' behaviors and loyalties are in flux, and when new longer-term behaviors, loyalties, and spending preferences may emerge? So if you think about the situation that we're in right now, we were required to rethink how we purchase everything. Our groceries all of a sudden had to go online. It was easier to order from Amazon or whatever store. And unfortunately, the local market here, the majority of the local market here was unprepared for what happened. And we're scrambling to put strategies in place and try and get things going. And I give kudos to our BIAs and our Chamber of Commerce for what they've done, putting together new websites that had lists of businesses that were open and when they were open and what was due. And that's fantastic. There's a huge disadvantage to that as well, which is unfortunate because new websites rank at the very bottom of Google search. They're hard for people to find. Our Facebook and social media platforms were flooded with small businesses trying to get attention. And in doing that, all engagements and the algorithm was out of whack, so it made it hard for small businesses to rank. And then they changed it a bit as the COVID started going on, and they started offering incentives and they changed the algorithm enough that small businesses started to show up a little bit more, which was really good. Except big box stores by then had already taken a huge market. Amazon was able to add a huge number of employees. Their sales went through the roof. He's the first person to hit $1 trillion. There are just so many things that benefited businesses outside of our community that had we been better prepared. And if we prepare ourselves now, in the event that this goes on for longer than another 6 to 12 months, or if we're better prepared to have things in place that if we do have to go into a shutdown again, that we're better prepared for that. And that's the importance of looking at what you do as a digital strategy and putting enough in place. So when we're talking about a digital strategy, it's more than social media. There's 4 necessary components to succeed in a local economy. And one is local, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that at the end. But as we're talking, just kind of think about how you market and what you do locally, how that affects everything else. So I'm hoping that everyone that's on here has a website, and that website is properly optimized. And that it's not that, yeah, I bought that $2 SEO package with my website, because unfortunately what they fail to tell you is that SEO is similar to a gym membership. If you can purchase the gym membership, but if you don't ever go and use that gym membership, you don't get the results that you need. So purchasing that $2 SEO package is perfect, except if you don't do more afterwards, it really is not, it's not efficient. So SEO is a real important factor. We can talk a little bit more about that as well. And then we're going to talk about social media. And social media is a huge aspect of everything, except when it comes to how it affects your website and how it affects SEO, it only is 5 to 7% of the overall factoring in your website and your SEO getting found. So to focus just on social media and not consider the other two and the local aspect is really, it's not enough. You really have to look at all 4 components and how it factors into how it grows your business. And excuse me, that might seem overwhelming, and it's not meant to be. It actually can be a gateway that is more effective in growing your business and not as time consuming as what social media can be. If you choose different strategies on how to, what social media really is your demographic, if it's Facebook and Instagram, if it's Instagram and TikTok, if it's LinkedIn and Pinterest, whatever your combination may be, I highly recommend doing that. And then looking at what other things you can do for your business that grows your search results on search engines, that increases your traffic to your website, all of that. Because social media, although having a really good component of it, the other two are just as important, if not more so. So we're going to talk a little bit about social media savvy. So as you can see in the graphic, I love this graphic. It comes out every year. I highly recommend you take a look at them from post years to see the difference between 2016 even and 2020. It's amazing. So what hasn't changed a lot in the last year is Facebook is still leading with logins for a minute. So 1.3 million logins in a minute. Google has 4.1 million search queries every minute. And then YouTube was up a little bit. Instagram had doubled, if not tripled. Tweeting had gone down. So anyone on Twitter had kind of gone down a little bit. But the thing that really caught my eye and went up a lot was the Amazon Echoes, the smart speakers. There's 305 of them shipped every minute in this world. And then we have Siri on our phone. We have, whatever voice activated search you can use, it's on your phone as well. And then these smart speakers. And 4 years ago, there was only, I think 10 or 15, I can't remember, I'm sorry, but if I got the number wrong, but it's a very low number. It had gone up in size by 30 times, if I'm not mistaken. 25 to 30 times it had multiplied by in 4 years. So that's huge. Anyhow, when you're doing your social media, you want to be authentic in what you're offering. So talk about what's happening in your store, what happens behind the scenes in your store, what happens in your work, in the services that you offer. When you've had a customer that has you've solved a problem for and they're so excited about, share all of that information, get it out there as much as you can. Talk about your feelings of, the businesses that are doing well on social media have that following because they have been authentic. They share more about themselves. I'm not very good at that. So I'm working on it. It's one of my weaknesses for sure, trying to become more authentic. We have a question. Okay. So that's a difficult one. But if you can do it, great for you. But I have a real hard time with it. Anyhow, make sure that you post regularly. And And schedule your post if you can. If you have a social media scheduler, you've got into a program like Hootsuite or Shop by Equinity, we offer that as well. And make sure you're scheduling your posts as much as you can, and have a strategy. So don't just willy-nilly kind of what you're throwing out there every day. Like, oh, I think we'll do this today and I'll do that today. Actually sit down 30 to 60, 90 days in advance and figure out what's happening in your store, how you want to promote that, and what you want to say when you're in your social media platforms, and how you want to make that consistent across all of them. So if you are using Facebook and Instagram, you know that Instagram's more visual and hashtags, and Facebook now is becoming more story oriented, and a lot of video. So make sure that you do that. And there's differences in the amount. Instagram, you can put up a video as long as it's a minute, and then it has to go to Instagram TV if it's over a minute. And Facebook's really responding to videos that are over 3 minutes long. So different platforms have different ways of affecting where you show up. And algorithms on those platforms are very, I say vicious. Some say vigorous. I say vicious. And they are vicious because it's like going back to high school again. Popularity is what raises your post to the top, and you need people to engage and interact with your posts. So, and it's not just about giving the thumbs up, the like anymore. That's not enough. You need to have something from the heart, I love it, right over to the angry face. Any of those emojis in between will actually give you a higher ranking. So you have to think about how that works. So when you get a reaction and engagement that way of someone liking your post, loving your post or whatever, you get 1 point for that. And if they make a comment, you get another point. And then if you respond, that's another point. And then there's more engagement, you get another point. So every time you get a point, it raises your ranking in your social media platforms. So kind of think about that as you do it. So it's great that they liked it and they loved it. Respond back to them. Try and get as much engagement going as you can so that it moves your post up and up. The other thing people I always ask me about is, how much should I post? And let's think about it this way. If you have 100 followers on your platform, only 2 to 6% of them actually see your post. So if you got 100 followers, you only got 2 to 6 people that saw that post. So if you post again, you might get the next 2 to 6 people. So then you've already gone up to 4 to 12%. Should you keep posting 5 times to hit your 100? No, I don't recommend that. But can kind of consider what's getting action. But you're also penalized too. If you put out a post and it only gets 1 reaction and nothing else, then it kind of drops you down a little bit. So algorithms are math. They're frustrating. They're not based on anything other than who engages, what happens, and how it works. It's a very frustrating process, the whole algorithm thing. Anyhow, so make sure you engage your followers regularly. That's kind of where I'm going with that. And then video is extremely important. And I know we touched on the length of video and that, but I want to talk about a little bit about Facebook video and YouTube video and what the differences are for that, because Facebook video is contained in Facebook. So Facebook is like a silo on a farm. You put the corn in so that it doesn't spread all over and doesn't go anywhere else. And in social media, that's not a good thing. You want to be able to have that shared across all different mediums as much as possible, if that is your intent. So if you're doing a Facebook Live, it's just meant for Facebook, that's fine. But if you want something to gain further acknowledgement, to get more interaction, you need to put it on YouTube. Get a YouTube channel just for your business and post it everywhere. It can post to your website. It can post to LinkedIn. It can post to all of those different sites, whereas Facebook can't and won't, because they have no intention of sharing. They want you to stay within Facebook and use Facebook for everything. So the next thing of importance is get mobile. So when you build your website or you have your website built, make sure that it's mobilely optimized. And that being said, it is because the important, and not only your website, you want to make sure that your e-commerce is mobile optimized, and then your email and all of your content, everything is mobile optimized to make it easier for viewing. Because if millennials and Gen Zs have grown up in this world of digital, that everything has to be quick and fast and easily accessible, user-friendly, ready to put their hands on, use it, and get out kind of idea. And if they come across your site and it's slow loading and it's unreadable, the text is too small, the video doesn't come up, there's any kind of impalement at all that makes it impossible to use, you're gonna lose them, and they won't come back. So kind of look at all of those components when you're putting your digital strategy together, and make sure that it's an omni-channel approach so that it's streamlined and everything works accordingly and well. The next thing you want to check is your loading speed. So when you go on your phone, yeah, there's other things that can affect loading speed, like bandwidth on the internet, location where they are on their phone. All of those things can affect it. They're a little bit more forgiving in a situation like that. I know when I'm up north of 7 or going along to Charlotte Lake or anything like that, when I'm there, I have dead zones where I lose my phone or I can't get enough reception. So you understand that. But when they're in like the city of Belleville, where our Wi-Fi is pretty good, you should be able to load up with no problem. Anyhow, the next thing you want to check on your website is that it's HTTPS, meaning that it's SSL secured. And there's a certificate that goes along with it. So if your website developer did that for you, ask them about the SSL certificate. That's important. And the reason that HTTP is important is because with search right now, this website over the HTTP, or what, I can't remember, HPPS, whatever the other one is, off the top of my head, sorry. The reason for that is that the other one is not secure site. So it's not good for e-commerce. It's not good for voice searching. It's not good for, it doesn't load as fast as the secure sites. These are the most recent. They've come out in the last, few years, 5 or 6 years maybe. And they have started to change the landscape of how Google Analytics find things. So if you, your website's on the old site, you haven't had it updated lately, I highly recommend you update it and make sure that it goes to a secure site. And the reason, one of those things is for voice search compatibility. So I want you to start thinking about content when it comes to voice search, and how that is that more and more people all the time will just speak into their phone and ask what they're looking for. And they don't ask it in a short tail form, meaning hair salons or bike rentals anymore. They ask a question. So where can I find a bike rental in the county? And then that has to be what results come up from that, is from that question. So you need to be asking yourself, what kind of questions would my consumers ask, and what do I need to answer? And that content needs to be built into your website for search results. The next thing is create an online and offline experience for your consumer. So one way of doing that millennials do this is called showrooming. So what they'll do is they go and browse in stores, check it out, feel it, check the size, make sure, the smell of it, the colors, what's available. And then they'll go home, or while they're standing in the store even, search online to see who's got the best deal and where they can buy that product. And then if they find it somewhere else better, they're going to buy it there. Or they just go home and find it and buy it there. The other way people do things nowadays is called web rooming, which is they browse online first before going to the store, try and find where they can find it to purchase it in store, and then go and buy it in that store. I do that all the time. And another thing that's important for millennials is fast and easy payment gateways. So Apple Pay, Tap, I love Tap, And any of those quick where they can send you the money and they can get out fast and quick. So you have to look at what gateways are out there for you. Square, Stripe, there's about 75 different gateways that I can think of that we use within our programs that people can use. So try not to find one that's cumbersome and takes a lot of time. I don't carry cash anymore. I don't know a lot of people who do. There is out there, I know. Don't take me wrong, I get it. But I'm just saying it's changing quickly. You need to kind of adapt. And a lot of places right now I find aren't taking cash either because of what's going on with COVID. So that's another aspect to think about when you're thinking about payments. And make it streamlined so that if your payments that you take online are the same that you take offline, and Square is adaptable for that, and so is Stripe. Anyhow, coupons is my next point. Coupons are huge. Anywhere to get a deal. Millennials and Gen Zs love that. My son goes crazy for coupons and where you can get a deal, and he signs on to websites that get him a better deal. So Honey is one that I'm aware of, and he uses another one. So he'll go on that before he's going to order anything and see what store is offering a deal, and then he purchases from that. So kind of think of those kinds of things when you're doing that. The next thing is VIP programs, reward programs. 40% of millennials say that they'll change where they shop if a business offers a loyalty program. So that's 4 in 10. That's huge if they will switch to you if you offer a loyalty program. And that's a lot easier for local businesses to kind of navigate and do and get it word of mouth in your social media talking, say, this is what we offer our program. People who come in all the time, it's fantastic. It works tremendously. The next thing that Millennial and Gen Zs respond to really well is reviews. And I want to make sure that you use reviews on every platform that you use. Try and engage as many people as you can of your clients and consumers to give you a review. And it's difficult to do. I find some businesses have no problem with it. They get reviews after reviews after reviews, and others are, it's like pulling teeth sometimes to get businesses out there. I ask regularly. Business owners seem to be the hardest to get business reviews from. So if you use another business's service, please take the time to go on Google, go on Shop Fave Quinny, go on Facebook or Instagram, wherever, and leave them, not Instagram, sorry, but on Facebook, and leave them a review of their products and of the service that you had and how great it was. And do it for every local business that you interact with, not just the ones that are in your BIA, not the ones that are just in your community. Look and see what other businesses you utilize within the Bay of Quinte region and Central Hastings, and leave them a review about how great they did with you that day. And don't be afraid to ask for reviews, and just get out there and even take the 5 minutes every day just to write one review to some business that you've used in the past or presently. It means a lot to them and to everything that's going on. The next thing you want to do is, we kind of talked about this previously about payments, making it easy. And I can't describe how much it is so important to make the payment easy. So now Facebook and Instagram have started Instagram shopping. So most e-commerce will allow you to, well, I shouldn't say most, but some will let you connect and have an omni-channel approach to selling on Facebook and Instagram as well as on your website. So look at that feature closely when you are building an e-commerce site. And e-commerce isn't just meant for retail stores selling clothing or makeup or anything like that. It's also for services, and it's also for people who sell ebooks or coaching sessions or anything like that. All of those things can be sold online in a digital format and sent to the consumer. So if you are a fitness gym or anything like that, kind of consider the possibility of putting an e-workout together and what you can sell to someone online. You can sell it for $40 so they can use it in their home gym. You can sell a coaching for small businesses online. We actually have the software within Shop by Equity that we can do that if you were interested. The next thing to consider as well is curbside pickup and delivery options. And this has been huge during COVID, obviously, for many reasons. The difficulty is that some of it's not being executed as well as what it should be or could be with local businesses. Either they haven't considered what's going on. So they might have an online store, but that online store then requires to call and pick up in store. So that kind of defeats the purpose of them going online. You'll lose people that way very quickly. One of my local businesses, they had that in place. They had one, they've only had one order through that system in 5 weeks. And then we put in our system, and within 2 weeks, they had 25 sales. So kind of think about the approach that's going into what you're doing and how you're going to deliver it once they purchase. That's a big facet of what's happening with millennials. They want it fast, they want it quick. So yeah, you may not be, if they order from you on the Wednesday, if you can get it to them that day or Thursday or Friday, that's perfect. There's a lot of delivery options locally that are available. A lot of e-commerce platforms have it built right in their system that you can either do curbside pickups or delivery, and you can schedule all of that as well. Excuse me. Oh, sorry. So millennials also respond to micro moments. So this is kind of very important as well. They act on a need to learn something, do something, discover something, watch something, or buy something. They are intent-rich moments. So if someone's sitting at Sandbanks from the GTA or Ottawa, and they're going, where can I eat and where can I get something? They're going to go on their phone while they're sitting at the beach, figuring out where their closest restaurants are, where it is that I can find what I can eat. Do I want to get it in? I want to pick it up and go. Do I want to sit outside? They want to know all of that information. So the more content that you provide for the consumer, the more apt they are to end up at your facility, at your business, using your products and services. So kind of think about that as you are building your website, as you are doing social media. And remember, social media, we'll talk about that a bit more, about social media and the difference between your website and social media. The next slide I want to talk about is millennials like to support a cause. So they like user-friendly, eco-friendly products and containers, and they liked that a portion of the sales may go to local charities, or that you support climate efforts, or your products support climate efforts. It's upon the business owners now to design an innovative way that by shopping or procuring your services that a third party benefits. So I put some examples here. So this one here is, I think it's a clothing company. I didn't read it very close. I just saw that it was, they offered 100%. I was really intrigued that all of their workers here was what got me. That it's in Peru, and the products that are made by, they make sure that the people that they hire are 18 years or older, and that they make sure that their workers' kids are in school, and they make sure that those workers go on to go to university or to college and have that extended education after elementary school and high school. So I really was impressed with that, how that they did that. The other one that I looked at was a bracelet company, and they put a little, I can't even speak of it, the charm. So the little charm is on it that is a dolphin or something to do with the ocean. And anyhow, every time someone purchases the Save the Dolphin bracelet, or the anxiety disorder, or the oceans, or the sea turtle, those donations go back to that charity so that they benefit from that. And as you see, it's probably very effective. They've so far donated almost 1.5 million in donations. The next thing I wanted to talk about was email marketing, and this is huge and not widely used, and it is extremely cost effective, and it is very much a component that you need to consider when you're building your digital strategy. So email marketing is for everyone. Small businesses need to do it. It's easy, it's fast, it's very inexpensive. And nowadays, if you have an e-commerce platform, it's usually built right into your e-commerce platform. You can word it any way that you like, so that it brings people back. I know with the 116 Bistro, we have an abandoned cart email with them. So someone will go in and order, and if within 5 or 10 minutes, if that order wasn't placed, they get an email saying, hey, weren't you hungry? Come back and join us. We have great foods. And then it showcases what other foods they have available. So you can word those and include your products in there, so there's draws to bring people back. And if you get a new client, you send out a welcome email. And then there's constant newsletters talking about your products and your services and what happened. They don't have to be long. They don't even have to be full of a full paragraph. But if you have effective, engaging pictures, you have a video about your product, and just a small little blurb about, hey, we just got this in, you should come and try it. This was something we thought you'd be interested in. Whatever the draw is to try and get people back in. And if they don't want to be involved in the email campaign, I hear this all the time, well, then you lose them as a subscriber. But that's the onus is then put back on you as a business to try and up your content so it's engaging, so that people want to hear from you. They want to see what you have in store. It doesn't have to be every week. It could be every 2 weeks. It could be once a month. It's totally up to you, the consistency and the how often you want to do those kinds of newsletters. And the other ones can be automated, so they go out when the consumer actually interacts. And people are now kind of pretty conditioned to understand that those emails are going to come. Like as soon as you put your email in that system, you realize you're either going to get that welcome, or you're going to get an abandoned cart. You're going to get something that says, hey, you were just here. So those are kind of it. And re-engagement emails are so important as well. So really look at that feature when you're talking about e-commerce or anything like that. So if someone hasn't purchased, they purchased from you once, and then they haven't come back for an amount of time, 6 weeks, 6 months, whatever it is, you can send them an email and say, hey, we haven't heard from you in a while. We haven't seen, this is what we have going on right now. Something that gets them back and thinking about you again and coming back to the store. Or you can have a VIP program where, you know, they buy so many times, and then they get certain discounts or coupons to come back in and start engaging again. Those are all options, and they're great email components for any marketing strategy. So website marketing, its online visibility is essential for businesses in today's world. If your business doesn't have a website, your presence within the market is essentially non-existent. So, and that goes to websites that aren't properly optimized either. So if your website was built on GoDaddy and by your friend or by you, and you don't have the proper mechanics behind the scene, it looks aesthetically pleasing and is beautiful, but behind the scenes, everything's not copacetic, Google's not gonna come and look for that. So you wanna make sure, and this is one thing I'm sorry, you can't skimp on a website. You don't have to pay thousands and thousands of dollars. You don't have to do that. However, you do need to make sure that it is properly optimized, that someone has taken a look at it and said, hey, yeah, we can do this for you. We can get it going. These are examples of 2 websites that we've done for local businesses. Bistro 116 is on Pinnacle Street in Belleville, and the Wellington Dukes obviously are in Wellington. You want to make sure that you can track the analytics, so you can make adjustments to your website to see what's effective and not effective, and how you can make it more engaging. And the other thing you want to have, and I don't know if you can see it here on the Dukes, right here in the corner is their social media news feed. And what that does is every time that the Dukes post to their Facebook account and their Twitter account through our system, It automatically updates their website, keeping it relevant and in Google's eye, important, because somebody's going to it regularly. There's action on it all the time. There's work being done on it. It keeps it relevant, and meaning that Google sees that there's action. So if your website, you built it and forgot about it pretty much, and it sits dormant for a week, months at a time, it keeps dropping in ranking because nobody's gone there to see it. Now, if you have people that go and visit it, that's okay, but you yourself haven't done any work on it. So then they kind of start to wonder how important it is. So you want to make sure that your website is interacted with every day, even by you, not just consumers or clients that you're trying to engage, but also by you. So you should have your Facebook post attached to it. You should have your Twitter post attached to it. You can have an Instagram feed on it, something that continually activates that website and keeps it relevant. So the other thing is, there is no algorithms on your website to decide what content is seen by consumers. You fully control everything that's on your website. So in Facebook and Instagram and social media platforms, there's algorithms, and they decide who sees your content and who might be interested in your content, and that's who gets to see it, or who follows you. And even then, like I was explaining before, only 2 to 6% of that possibly will see your website. So kind of think about that as when you're thinking about building your website, about how you want your website to look, because it's your calling card. It's the most important thing that you own. It reflects what the core values of your company is, what you do when, how you want the consumer to find you and see you. So you can put videos on your website. You can put your blogs on your websites. You can put all of your content from years can be on your website, so they can see what you have done since the time you started your business, even, or when you started your website, to present day. It can show the hours that you're working. And right now, that's so important with what's going on with COVID, that your hours are up to date on your website, and that your hours are up to date on Google Business if you have that, and you should have that, because it was so confusing to try and find who was open, who wasn't open, all of those things. And the other aspect of your website that I highly recommend is making it so it's functional, that you can do the different updates and everything like that, that the web developer that you have has actually taken the time to show you how to do your updates, so you're not paying astronomical fees to have a logo changed or the hours changed or anything like that. I had a business contact me and asked me if I could fix their hours on their business, because their web developer was going to charge them $400 just to change the hours on their business. And that's insane. You should be able to do that on your own. You shouldn't have to require to make a huge payment to someone else to make those kind of changes. Anyhow, the next part that I was talking about was local. So local. So what are you doing as a local business to make it easier for consumers to shop locally? I just did a recent survey with local businesses or local consumers that are non-business owners, and asked them what it was like for their experience for COVID to shop locally. And 7 out of 10 basically said it was too difficult. They couldn't do it. They ended up going to the big box stores. Majority used Amazon. So we as business owners, the onus is on us to make it the accessibility much easier for local businesses to shop from us and to buy from us. If you have a program in place that isn't gauging engagement and isn't getting orders, then you need to reassess that and kind of figure out, what can I do differently, and how can I get more consumers in the door? Unfortunately, waiting till it goes back to normal may not work. It could be a long time. Until there's a vaccine in place, you're going to have a lot of people who are very anxious and unwilling to go out. You have a lot of people who will just do the necessity shopping. So if you can make that experience for your store easier for them to access what you have and how to reach you, and finding it, picking it up, paying for it, all of those things, an easy process, you're going to find that your sales will increase. So when you're offering curbside pickup, Do you designate a time that they can come pick it up? Can they arrange that time? Do you have a delivery option? There is local delivery stores you can kind of work out, or kind of consider collaborating with different businesses so that, you know what, we ordered together and now we've got a delivery option and we can deliver to your house within a couple days. Kind of think about that. Do you have an e-commerce site, and is it user friendly? Is it payment easy? Is it easy to navigate? Because if you find that there's one locally where you go in and you order something, and then when you order it, it pops you back to the start again. And I didn't want to go back to the start because it was too hard to get to where I was. 3 clicks is kind of the norm. If it takes more than 3 clicks to order what they want, you might lose some people in that effect. So kind of think of it, 3 clicks. Can I order everything? Is it easy, consistent flow? Is it an even flow? I feel like I'm just singing Pearl Jam. If it is the even flow for what you need, you can pick the product that they want and then go back to the page they were just on and pick the next product. Kind of think about the flow of how your e-commerce work. Is it effective? Would you be frustrated using it? Have a couple people try it out before you launch it and see what they think. If you need help, reach out to someone who has some experience in doing that. I'm happy to sit down with you and figure that out. Anyhow, do you sell on your website? And do you sell on Facebook or Instagram? Those are 2 hot topics right now for Facebook and Instagram and your website. You want to have when we go back to micro moments. So you've got someone who's searching a millennial as Gen Z on Facebook, and they're like, hey, that product's really great. That store carries it. That buy now button is huge because you've caught them in the moment that they actually are looking at it and want it. And they're very impulsive. So you want to have it there in front of them. You don't want to have them lost trying to find it. Having a URL that goes to your website is okay, but the sell on Facebook and Instagram is really huge, and it will actually drive up your sales. So then, can your products and services be found in a search engine with a long tail search? So short tail searches are 1 or 2 words: hair salon, bike rentals, one of that. But the next search is the long tail search, which has a lot to do with voice search, but it has a lot to do with product specific. So as you can see on my graph here, red running shoes, Bay of Quinte, that's a long tail search. And what happens, as you can see, is it shows up. We don't sell red running shoes. I'm a tech company. I don't sell red running shoes. But on my site on Shop Bay of Quinte, I put in a tab about red running shoes. And when you go to that tab, it's actually a video talking about Google searching. So you are happy to search red running shoes Bay of Quinte and see where it pops up. But as you can see, we're ranking 2nd and 4th because of that ad. And I'm just going to point out the Bay of Quinte Total Mart Sports magazine that's showing up 1st and 3rd. They're actually one of our clients. And when you press on that to go to red running shoes, and why that popped up is because they were talking about running shoes in one of their columns about one of their one of their writers had put in about his gym. And it'll actually take you to his article. So that goes back to the importance of why content marketing and having all of that information is important. It's not just about having an e-commerce platform. It's not just about having a social media strategy. It's about having a website and having other means for people to find anything that they're looking for and that you may carry it. So long tail searches are really important, and the more content that you have and you offer to consumers, the more they can judge and see if your business is someone they want to do business, that they want to deal with. So kind of think about that too. The more information that's out there, the better it is. When you look at a website and there's only a couple paragraphs and a couple pictures, what are you doing to intrigue me to stay there? What are you intriguing to get me into your store? And think of all of those questions. So that's kind of my whole sum of what shopping and dealing with millennials and Gen Zs are right now. So if anybody has any questions, please feel free to ask. And just, you can open up your mics if you want and ask. You don't have to type it in or anything. Has anybody got any questions? No. Alrighty. So if we don't have any questions, then I just want to point out, Shop Bay Quinte is a regional site. There is community sites. So there's Shop Central Hastings, Shop Quinte West, Shop PEC, Shop Babel. There's also a Shop Brighton and Shop Napanee, and Shop Trent Hills. So if you load into your community site, it will actually post in that site as well as on Shop Bay Quinte, and all the links are on the final page. If you do need help with anything, please feel free to reach out to me. I hope that I've given you some good information. I'll send this presentation along to Brianna. She can reach out to everybody. I can send it out to you actually afterwards. And please don't hesitate to contact us and talk to us about what you may be needing for your business. And if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. Anyways, if anybody's got anything else. No? No? We're all good? Okay. Thanks, guys, for coming, and I hope to talk to you soon. Thanks. Erica, thanks so much. Yeah, no, anytime, contact me. That's great. I hope your kids all behave. Thanks, guys.